So in this video, I'm going to look at desert tanks that were used by Italian, British and German forces in the desert North African campaign. This is going to be of interest to anyone that plays World War II. The North African campaign of World War II stands out as one of the most pivotal theatres of the conflict, where tank warfare played a crucial role in the outcome. This theatre witnessed the clash of Allied and Axis powers, with British, Italian and German forces employing a variety of tanks in their strategic manoeuvres across the vast desert landscape. So the first lot of tanks we're going to look at are from the British. So first up will be the Matilda II, which is one of the most iconic British tanks of the North African campaign. And Matilda II was named for its heavy armour and reliability. While its 2-pounder gun lacked significant firepower against German tanks, its armour made it impervious to many of the early sort of war German anti-tank guns, earning it the nickname Queen of the Desert. Our next offering are the Crusader Tanks, and there were various different versions of the Crusader tank. The British also fielded cruiser tanks, including models such as the Crusader and the Valentine. These tanks prioritised speed and manoeuvrability over heavy armour. The Crusader in particular was notable for its role in early desert campaigns, but the problem was it suffered from quite a lot of mechanical issues and had fairly thin armour. Our third tank from the Brits is the Churchill tank. Later in the campaign, the Churchill tank became prominent with its heavy armour and powerful weaponry, including the 6-pounder gun or the 75mm gun. The Churchill was effective in breakthrough and support roles, though its slow speed sometimes proved it a liability in the fast-paced desert warfare. Our next selection of tanks are the Italians. The first up is the Fiat M1139 and M1340. The Italian army pretty much primarily relied on the tanks like the Fiat during the North African campaign. Now, while these tanks possessed adequate armour and armament for their time, they were pretty much outclassed by British and German tanks in the terms of technology and performance. Now, our next offering isn't essentially a tank. It's a Semovente Firm 7518. It was an Italian self-propelled gun based on the M1340 chassis, and it featured a 75mm howitzer and was primarily used as an infantry support role due to its limited mobility and armour. Now, our final bunch of tanks we're going to look at are from Germany, and first up is the Panzer III and IV. The German military deployed the Panzer III's and IV's tanks extensively during the North Africa campaign. The Panzer III initially served as the primary medium tank, armed with a 50mm gun, while the Panzer IV provided heavier firepower with its 75mm gun. These tanks formed the backbone of the German armoured forces under Rommel in the desert. The next tank to look at is the Tigone. Now, towards the latter stages of the campaign, the Germans introduced the formidable Tigone tank. With its thick armour and powerful 88mm gun, the Tiger possessed a significant threat to Allied armour on the battlefield, causing quite a lot of havoc despite its relatively low numbers. Next up, we're going to look at the Panzer II and Panzer 38T. Now, the Germans also fielded these lighter tanks like the Panzer II and the Czech-built Panzer 38T, and they were primarily used for reconnaissance and support roles. Now, whilst these tanks were less significant in firepower and armour, they did play an important role in scouting and skirmishing operations. Now, tanks of the North African campaign represented a diverse array of designs and capabilities, reflecting the evolving nature of armoured warfare during World War II. From the British Matilda to the German Tiger, each tank brought its own strengths and weaknesses to the desert battlefields and battlegrounds, shaping the course of one of the most dynamic and strategically significant campaigns of the Second World War. Ultimately, the North African campaign served as a crucible for tank warfare, where innovation, adaptation and tactical prowess determined victory and defeat amidst the harsh sands of the desert. And both Axis and Allies learned a lot in that campaign about how to conduct tank warfare. I mean, the Germans were General Rommel was pretty much a first-class tank general. There is no doubt about it. But he came up against Montgomery. He was also quite a strategically good general. But it was the desert campaign that pretty much helped develop tank warfare and designs of tanks that progressed as the World War II progressed. We saw bigger, better, more powerful, more maneuverable tanks being designed and developed. I mean, eventually the Germans would come out with things like the Panzer and Tiger IIs, which are big main battle tanks. Anyway, that's all for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.